Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help. And King of Floors, your vinyl, laminate, and engineered flooring superstore.
Our thanks to John Shorthouse in that first hour. He joined us.
Yep.
At the bottom of the hour, J.P. Barry will join us in the next segment. Meanwhile, just ahead of Craig Button, I'll remind you that all of our guests today on Tuesday, sponsored by Skipper Auto, supporting Canadian fishing families through a revolutionary seafood buying experience. Skipper Auto, big fans of that name. Abbotsford Sockeyes or Fraser Valley.
Fraser Valley Sockeyes, I really like.
Check them out online at skipperauto.com as we're joined now by TSN Scouting Director Craig Button. Craig, thanks for doing this. How are you, sir?
My pleasure. You had John Shorthouse on, one of my favorites, and J.P. Barry coming up, another one of my favorites.
Wow.
I'm sandwiched right in the middle on the thorn between two roses.
Or the other way around.
Other way around.
Since we're talking to you now. Hey, Craig, what are your memories? 10 years ago today, Canucks lose Game 7 of the 2011 Stanley Cup Final. They lose the game. There's a riot afterwards in Vancouver. What are your memories of that?
You know what I recall so vividly was, Vancouver had won the first two games, and then Boston won, and then, coming back, it was a homer series. And it was that goal by Bergeron that I remember, and I'm thinking to myself after that goal went in, I'm going, it just felt like, not that Vancouver tightened up, but it was almost like you get to that point and one team gets a stronger grip on what they're after. And I really felt that Boston just strengthened their grip at that point in time, and Vancouver never could loosen that grip of the Boston Bruins. I mean, the Bruins were a good team. The Canucks were a good team. You know what? In the aftermath of what happened, I mean, really what I would say, Donnie and Rick, it's just really sad. And when a very small handful of people carry on in such a really poor manner and such poor behavior and illegal behavior, when people go, oh, look at Vancouver, it's not a reflection on Vancouver. It's a reflection on those individuals. And you hate to see those things. I saw it in Montreal in 86 and in 93 as well. And people in Vancouver were disappointed. It was different in Montreal. People were celebrating. But it's just really bad behavior that should not be a reflection on the vast majority, overwhelming majority of people in Vancouver and the great fans that Canucks have.
And as we move on, Craig, what sold the Rangers on Gerard Gallant?
Well, Gerard, I think that people, right, I shouldn't say I think. When you're hiring a Gerard Gallant or anybody that's experiencing, you know exactly what he brings to the team. There's no mystery about how he handles a bench or what his strengths are or, some of the areas where he can use a little bit of help. And, Chris Drury has played for a number of coaches as a player. And, now in management, he's seen a number of different coaches come in and out. So I think the key thing is knowing your team and knowing what you think a particular coach can provide to your team. And really what you're looking for is to try to maximize the abilities of the players and the potential of the team. And, I think that when you look at Gerard's record, he's done that. He's done that in junior hockey. He did that with the Florida Panthers. He did it with the Vegas Golden Knights. He just did it at the World Championships. So, people might say he's this or he's not that or whatever. Who cares? Chris knows what he's looking for. I'm a big Gerard Gallant fan. Number one, as a person, he's just an unbelievable, wonderful person. But he's a good coach. And, there's very few what I would call, what you call those unbelievable, there's no such thing as a perfect coach, but the guys that fall into that, Greg Popovich falls into that, Scotty Bowman, they're on a different level. But Gerard Gallant, for what he's been able to do, I think he's an excellent coach, and I think he'll be a real nice fit for the Rangers. But most importantly, Chris Drury feels he's the right fit for his team, and he knows his team.
Craig, the reason we got J.P. Barry on is to talk about Pettersson and Hughes contracts. It looks like they're talking 3 years with Pettersson, a bit more with Hughes. Put your GM's hat on. When these kids are so good like these two are, Is the number one mandate for management to get long-term deals done with these guys, if possible? Is it always long-term?
I say no. I say the long-term deal gets you into trouble. I think that listen, we talk about 8-year deals, and everybody goes, oh, you got to sign them up long-term. 8 years? I mean, you know how far away that is? Mm-hmm. That's a long time. And a lot can change in that period of time. And I think that, you look at the player and the team. We know they're good players, but I would either take them 1 or 2 year, 1 year past free agency perhaps, but a 2 or 3 year deal is where I'd be looking at. And I think there's ample example of that in recent years. Braden Point, Zach Werenski, last year, Matt Barzell. There's lots of opportunity to understand, what a player can do going forward. There's also opportunity for the player to see where the team is at. And I'm not into the 8-year deals unless you're getting from a team point of view, you're getting such a massive, what you feel is such a massive discount on what you think a player's value will be. I'm not for the long-term deal. I'm for the shorter-term deal. I'm not worried about free agency, Rick. The other thing people go about I'm not worried about free agency. You know what? 4 years from now or 5 years from now, there's going to be a whole new landscape in the NHL. 3 years from now, there'll be an entirely different landscape. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to manage that from a management point of view and be able to have flexibility with it. You need good players, and those guys are good players, don't get me wrong. But where I'm at, shorter term.
A lot of good players on Vegas. They win the opener. Your thoughts, Craig?
Well, I mean, one of the things that Vegas is really, really good at, not one of the things, a number of the things they're really, really good at is, making you pay for your mistakes. I mean, the Vegas Golden Knights and the Islanders are very similar in that respect. You make a mistake, you pay a price. You might take the penalty, you might tax. You think about Montreal last night. They take a penalty at the end of the first period. Then they take a penalty right at the beginning of the second period. Well, that taxes you. And what ends up happening right after that second penalty expires? You got a little bit of disarray with the Montreal Canadiens trying to get back into a rhythm with their regular 5-on-5, and the Vegas Golden Knights take advantage. So, if you make a mistake, it might not hurt you right at the moment in time, but they're ready to make you pay ultimately. Number two, their defense play a game of press. I call it press. And in football term, you call it a press defense. But they play press defense and press offense with their defensemen. They're up in the attack. They're up at the blue line. They're into the offensive attack. They are denying you on the entries. They're in the neutral zone trying to create turnovers. And they're quick to transition, whether they're moving the puck or they're jumping into the play. So you have to be, to me, if you're playing against the Vegas Golden Knights, you've got to continuously make sure you make those defensemen turn and go back for pucks, turn and go back for pucks, turn and go back for pucks. Because when they're playing forward, they become really, really dangerous. And you can't create offense in today's NHL without defense being part of the attack. And 5-man offense is how it has to be. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to create offense to the extent you'd like. So I think in those two areas, the Vegas Golden Knights are really well, and two areas that the Montreal Canadiens have to be really aware of if they want to find a way to get on the right side of the score and the series.
And speaking of defense, Habs obviously missing Jeff Petrie.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Craig, thanks so much for this. We're out of time. Above and beyond again. Thanks so much, my friend.
Okay, thank you, guys. Have a great day.